For the first time since Acog was created in 1966, staff and its board of directors got together for a regional visioning workshop to talk about what our local leaders wanted for Central Oklahoma's future. The premise of the whole day was that business as usual is not the preferred future for Central Oklahoma.
The day-long working retreat for the Acog Board of Directors last October gave our board members, for the first time in Acog history, the opportunity to actively participate in brainstorming exercises that establish vision statements and goals for our region. Another benefit from this retreat included enhanced communications between member governments while creating a team-building spirit among board directors.
Environmental and resource stewardship. Water resources. The issue. Oklahoma is just beginning to feel the impact of the current drought. Many parts of our region that have experienced growth and development don't have reliable long-term water resources to sustain projected growth. Our question to the board members was this: how can Acog plan and prepare our member governments to take a more long-term approach toward the increasing reality of limited water availability?
The vision and goals of the Water Resources Division at Acog can basically be summed up into two objectives. First of all, conservation. Second of all, regionalization. The conservation looks towards our water resources, what we have right now, and basically to educate people on how to keep those water resources and not waste them. Basically, Oklahoma is in a drought at the moment. Oklahoma goes through these cyclical droughts all the time. This should be nothing new, but what needs to be new is our approach to getting its resource and keeping this resource and utilizing this resource in the most efficient manner. The second thing is regionalization. Back in 2012, we had the State Comprehensive Water Plan. We touched on this. We need to keep going with this. One community cannot do all this themselves. We need to have the resources and the input of all Central Oklahoma communities into determining where their water resources are, where they need to develop them, where the money needs to go to maximum utilization of the monetary resources to get the infrastructure and therefore the water to the customer, basically.
Environmental and resource stewardship. Air quality. The issue. In the last few years, our region has had several EPA ozone standard violations, and this poses the harsh reality that the Oklahoma City metropolitan area will likely be designated as non-attainment soon. Acog recently completed the cost of non-attainment study, which highlights the extensive economic and transportation costs to the region if designated by the EPA. Our question to board members was this: how can Acog convince and educate the business community, local government officials, and residents to take practical measures to avoid this costly and unhealthy scenario?
Central Oklahoma's air quality, much like our water quality, is critical for our quality of life and our economic vitality. Here at Acog we get calls from the public, from folks moving here from other states, asking about our air quality. Do we have clean air in Central Oklahoma? And for the most part, we can tell them, if you look at our calendar year, most days we do have pretty good air quality. But we do, in those ozone season months from March to November, do see elevated ozone pollution. And so if you're a parent with a kid with asthma and you're making a trip to the emergency room, it doesn't really matter what the air quality is the rest of the year. In fact, in 2022, we were in violation of the EPA ozone standard, and we're seeing higher levels of particulate matter too. And we run the risk over the next few years, a high risk of being designated non-attainment by the EPA. And as our Acog cost of non-attainment study showed that came out last year, that could cost the region between $9 and $15 billion to our economy, because it fundamentally changes the way that Acog and ODOT do business for transportation planning. but also the private sector, industrial and commercial businesses, and how they do business in their regulatory environment. So what we're focused on now is trying to stay in attainment. We're working on a regional air quality plan with partners, including the Department of Environmental Quality, to look at our emissions across sectors. Where are we seeing higher pollution levels, and how do we connect those businesses to resources, funding opportunities, whether it's the infrastructure bill, the Inflation Reduction Act, but also what can we do on the state level? What state policies can we put into place, funding opportunities with legislators at 23rd and Lincoln. So we're inviting our partners, our stakeholders, to be a part of that process with us, because all Central Oklahomans deserve clean air, and that's what we're working on.
Sustainable growth, quality places, and efficient services. Safe and healthy communities. The issue. 911 Acog is in the process of implementing next-generation 911 for most of our region. We are the first in Oklahoma to venture into this advanced level of service for our residents and businesses. Once completed, the demand for this enhanced life-saving service will grow, and 911 Acog will have the opportunity to expand our service area, which could include Oklahoma City and other adjacent cities and counties. Our question to board members was this: should 911 Acog take a proactive approach to expanding its service area while providing superior services to more people within the Oklahoma City metropolitan area?
At Acog, we have a vision to expand the 911 Acog service area while implementing affordable next generation, or NG911, call routing and handling services, and at the same time improve the internal operations and efficiency of the Emergency Communication Centers, or ECCs. In order to realize the vision, our goals include successfully completing the implementation of NG for the 911 Acog service area, formulating a 911 Acog organizational strategy plan to improve internal operations, as well as develop a 911 Acog regionalization strategy to enhance ECC efficiencies. And lastly, we create a 911 Acog service area expansion plan.
Sustainable growth, quality places, and efficient services. Community and economic development diversity. The issue. Quality of life has become the central focus for regional competition in attracting skilled talent, new businesses, and private investment. Over the past several decades, the Oklahoma City metro area has experienced significant urban sprawl with few amenities and no planning or coordination between neighboring communities. Our question to the board members was this: how can Acog actively encourage a comprehensive planning approach for community and economic development to keep our region competitive?
The goal of the Acog Community and Economic Development Department is to strengthen the identities and the economic viability of the region's diverse communities. We plan to do this by promoting significant historic sites and natural assets, maximizing local amenities, investing in key infrastructure projects, and implementing the use of modern placemaking tools. Acog will continue CERI, the Community Economic Resiliency Initiative, an award-winning program that provides placemaking and long-term economic development strategies for our communities. Supported by cost-effective research and grant writing services, the CED department will continue to assist local governments in funding strategic economic development projects. Acog will always support planning and investment initiatives that will continue to make each community unique.
Efficient mobility options. Current and future roadway improvements. The issue. The Oklahoma Turnpike Authority recently released a turnpike construction plan for the Oklahoma City metro area. A few months prior, Acog, which is the organization responsible for the region's long-term transportation planning, presented the Encompass 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan to the board for their approval. As the official federally designated MPO for Central Oklahoma, no information was provided to Acog about these projects to incorporate them into the plan, even though staff had made several inquiries to the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. Our question to the board members was this: how can the Acog MPO, OTA, and the Oklahoma Department of Transportation be more effective transportation planning partners?
As the Metropolitan Planning Organization for Central Oklahoma, it is Acog's goal to enhance coordination among local, regional, and state transportation agencies to ensure that the Oklahoma City metropolitan area has a safe, equitable, and efficient transportation system.
A few action steps we're going to take to ensure that is to explore additional public involvement activities related to our short-range and long-range transportation planning efforts and elicit proactive involvement of ODOT and OTA with the Acog MPO transportation planning process.
Efficient mobility options, pedestrian and bicycle-oriented communities. The issue. 2 years ago, Acog changed the funding cap for bike ped projects to encourage greater investment by our cities into non-roadway transportation solutions. When the actual scoring and allocation of funding occurred, several cities voiced their opposition to the outcome, which resulted in placing a 10% funding cap on all future bike ped projects. Our question to the board members was this: knowing that the public demand for pedestrian and bicycle-oriented communities is viewed as a significant quality of life factor, how can the Acog MPO establish a more progressive funding formula without compromising future roadway projects?
Acog knows that if we improve the connection between land use and transportation options, Central Oklahoma residents will live healthier lives and help reduce the environmental impact of vehicle travel.
A few ways that Acog plans on accomplishing this goal is to implement the Acog Regional Active Transportation Plan and the Complete Streets Policy, and by focusing on transportation projects that improve, enhance, and expand the ability for residents to walk, bike, and use public transportation.
Acog's service leadership model, innovation and collaboration opportunities, thinking outside the box. The issue. Elaborative cost savings and consolidation of services represent fundamental reasons why councils of government were originally created in the 1960s. Acog recently initiated projects like the Regional Aerial Photography Program that has proven to be a cost savings for Acog and several of our local governments. However, this area of service has not been fully explored by our organization. Our question to the board members was this: what new areas of service and regional collaboration could Acog pursue that will result in greater governmental efficiency and long-term cost savings for our membership?
As the decision makers for our region, our board members as local government officials knew that bold choices must be made to move Central Oklahoma forward. To ensure that our area as a whole thrives, our smaller communities need access to the same type of amenities that our larger ones have at their fingertips. That's why Acog has set several future goals to leverage underutilized regional resources and develop innovative services that address the needs of our smaller communities. One of the goals that Acog plans to take action on is to create a community mentorship program where we will pair our larger cities with our smaller municipalities. This would be a city manager to city manager approach, where the city manager of a large city could advise the city manager of a smaller municipality on policy and share best practices with them. Another goal set that will aid in strengthening our communities is to establish a regional cooperative purchasing service here at Acog. This service will aid our municipalities in the purchasing of vehicles and equipment for our local governments. This provides communities to share bids and to benefit from bulk purchasing. These are just some of the goals that our members were able to set late last year for themselves and our staff. And when the Central Oklahoma region has a shared vision, we have a better chance to achieve that desirable future.
Our regional visioning report is vital to the success of Acog because it captures the comments and concerns of our local governments and establishes vision statements and goals that would direct future policy decisions and initiatives for the organization for the next 3 to 4 years. To meet the visions and goals set before us, a variety of potential action steps could entail strategic long-range planning, legislative interim studies that lead to appropriations for new programs, creation of self-funded regional initiatives that provide enhanced services to local governments, and expanded public education and outreach programs. The successful implementation of the identified recommended actions will require comprehensive teamwork and collaboration among the Acog organization, its member governments, our legislators, and other regional stakeholders and organizations.